Have you ever reached a dream in your life before? Some people dream of being an astronaut, for example. Some people dream of being a famous rap star. Some people dream of being a doctor. There's a lot of things that we might dream of being or achieving in our life at any stage of our life. But are dreams overrated? I've reached at least two dreams, I suppose, in my life. Back when I was young, 19, 20. I mean, when I was a teenager, I really got into things like researching, right? Things like permaculture and gardening and living off the land type shit. And so for many years, it's like I had this huge dream to one day live that type of life. I wanted to live that. And I did a ton of reading, a ton of studying on this stuff. And then one day I have the opportunity, I meet somebody, and I have the opportunity to live this dream of mine. So I make the bold decision to bounce off to another country, way down south, and do this thing, do this permaculture, living in a very rural area in the forest. When you look up at night, I mean, the moon was the brightest thing in the sky. It was amazing. The stars were amazing. I mean, I'm on the other hemisphere. I'm from the northern hemisphere. I'm born in the northern hemisphere, and I was living in the southern hemisphere. So, you know, the sky looks different, and the sleeping was amazing because you'd work and you'd just be tired, and there's no light pollution anywhere. There's no noise. I mean, you hear insects, and then you wake up with the sun. To experience that was great, but I pretty quickly realized that okay, this dream that I had, it's not living up to my expectations. It's not all that I thought it was. So, that was that. That dream was over. I had spent years of my life fiending for this, just fantasizing about, man, when is this day gonna come? Is this ever gonna come? Feeling like desperation to get it. And then when I had this opportunity, like the excitement that I felt was insane. I'm thinking that this is gonna solve all of my problems in my life. All the shit I was going through at my teen years, and then again coming up on 19 and 20. I'm thinking like I'm gonna have all this purpose in life. I'm gonna be doing something that I enjoy, and like all the problems that I had back in society, back in the urban world, that's just gonna be gone. I thought that it would fix all of my mental health problems too, and all of my social problems too. But it didn't live up to the hype. Another dream I reached. I went to school post-secondary starting at 21, and I was studying linguistics, and the phonetics and phonology classes and just those topics in general were topics that I really, really liked. I was fascinated with that. I was fascinated with how we produce sounds. I was fascinated with accents. I was fascinated with the physics of like the actual wave properties of the sounds we make, and things along those lines. So a new dream of mine developed. I wanted to be an accent coach. And again, this is something that I dreamt of for many years, thinking that, man, if I have that job, then I'm going to be so happy and content with my work and my life. That's just going to be a game changer. I mean, doing something that I love and I'm fascinated by. It seems like the coolest job. And And then I said, like a few years later, well, I get a job as an accent coach, and it fucking sucked. Really, from day one, it sucked, and I did it for like almost a year, maybe 10 months, something like that. Before it was just, and I was already so tuned out of it, you know, like within like 4 or 5 months, I was so tuned out of it already, you know, that I wasn't trying to grow my client base. It did not live up to the hype for all that I thought it was that it would be. It wasn't. It didn't turn out that way. And so I guess it kind of makes me question the whole concept of dreams, because we can have dreams. I've had dreams that I never reached, or even before I reached those two that I mentioned. You know, not reaching those dreams kind of gave me a little bit of stress or unhappiness or discontentness or something along those, some type of like negative emotion, negative feeling. And, you know, new dreams, I suppose, are natural to come. Um, but if I've reached these dreams that I've had and they've never panned out or lived up to the hype, what's the chance that any dream in the future lives up to the hype and pans out? What is the point of a dream? Are they just copes for us, you know, coping mechanisms, you know, when we fantasize about our future? You know, we think things are going to be this way or that way. You know, we might not be in a position where we're content with our life, so we think, oh, I have this goal, this dream, and then once I reach that dream, well, obviously my life's going to be perfect. It gives just that hope, motivation, something to look forward to. Excuse me. So have you ever reached a dream that you had, and how did it pan out? Did it live up to the hype? Did it not live up to the hype? Was it disappointing if it didn't live up to the hype? How did it make you feel? You know? Have you never reached a dream? What do you expect reaching that dream? And if not, what do you expect reaching that dream will bring to you in your mental health and your social health and your work health and your life? You know? Because me, I just don't know right now if dreams are worth having. I don't know if dreams, if orienting our life, my life, towards dreams, towards accomplishing dreams, reaching dreams, I don't know if that's a good framework to have, to live a meaningful or content, a life in which I am content. Like, does having a dream prevent, to some extent, or some dynamic of enjoying what's in front of you, enjoying what's in your presence? I mean, these are questions that I don't have the answer to, obviously. But I think it's worth for everybody to reflect on the concept of the phenomenon of dreams and how dreams do or don't contributes to us having a better life, whatever having a better life means to you, right? But like, do they ever live up to the hype? You know, sometimes I almost wonder if dreams are like almost akin to the limerence. You know, limerence is usually happens because people fall in love with a fantastical, like a fantasized version of a human being. Like they almost create a fiction version of someone they had a crush on. And, you know, this fictionalized caricature is constantly reinforced by these new memories they have, these new fantasies that someone has, and becomes more potent and potent over time. Why do I use this as an example? Well, I remember even after I came back from the living in the forest, permaculture type shit, I remember that I would oftentimes have certain, like I might smell something, right? And then they have a very strong memory be evoked by a smell that reminded me of life out there. Or I might see somebody who looked like one of the people out there that I was living with. And that would always, for some reason, like make me question if I made the right decision. You know, it almost like spark regret in me. But that's because, so what I'm trying to get at here is I think that that's because my idea of that life was fantastical. It was very fantasized. And I did experience the real thing and I left the real thing. But that fantastical version of it was still existing in my brain. And so when I would get these memories, right, it would pick out the fantasized version of that dream, of that reality. And it's like I would be missing that fantastical version, which I never experienced. I mean, I experienced it in my mind, but I never experienced it for real, right? And so if we don't know what achieving the dream is really like, we're just fantasizing about something. You know, that's really all it is, right? It's something we don't really know. We don't really know what it is, what it's like. Like even with the accent coach stuff, like what I was doing. This was teaching. This was like ESL, but like higher level stuff, like getting people to have native or native-like accents. Of course, accent coaching could take place in other domains. I have done it in other domains as well. I've done it with um, music artists, singers, you know, um, which was which was a better experience than which is a better because I still do it, which with one client, which is a better experience than the ESL stuff. But then I also kind of had this fantasy of like, all right, but what would it be like to work with actors? Like, it's like, what if, like, think about like the TV show The Wire, right? I was thinking about this the other day. You know, there's a certain accent in Baltimore, and not all of the cast spoke with that accent, right? Many did, but some couldn't, and I would just be thinking like, you know, what if I was an accent coach to get all of the actors to speak with the Baltimore accent? But that's just a fantasy, the idea, like being a dialect coach for actors, for movies, for TV series. I don't know what it's like, so I'm not going to cling on to it. Like I'm not clinging on to it. Like I clinged on to the permaculture idea, even after I'd experienced it, right? Because I understand now this dynamic. At least this is the dynamic that seems to be the case for me. But again, what is it? What is it like for you? You know, I think it's something worthwhile to reflect on. You know, because the implications of it, in my case, I suppose, would allow me to enjoy what's in front of me, enjoy the moment, the present, appreciate it for what it is, and not cling on to fantastical ideas. Because again, I'm wondering, like, are all goals or dreams, excuse me, are all dreams really just fantasies? Because we haven't experienced them, right? We necessarily can't have experienced these dreams.